Hello everybody, welcome once again to another edition of Lutys Chainsaw Mods. So today I've got a CS580, a Chinese chainsaw, 58cc. This is the second one I've built. There's another one down on the floor down there. And that one's been built for a while now. I've recently finished this one, but I've had issues with it. This is the one I ported really aggressively, and I've got it to rev to 15,250 RPMs now. Huge power. I thought I'd blown it up actually. The second time I ran it, it was I was setting up the carburetor, so setting the low jet first once I got it warmed, and then building it up to max revs to set the high jet. And it had held it. It had got to max RPM for about a second, and then it just went whoa and pulled itself down. I thought I'd blown it, but then it was still running. It was still idling okay, and I was just revving it gently, building it up again, got it hit high revs again for about a second, did the same again, and it kept doing that. So I thought, well, maybe I haven't blown it up. It almost felt like either I was over fueling it, or it was running out of fuel type of thing, you know, got a carby issue or something. So I've got it in today, investigating. I have found a few issues, which I'll show you. I've taken the carburetor off, and pull the carb apart, and I'll just show you what I've done. Okay, so let's put you down here. There you go. Okay, so I found. Okay, so I do tests, which I'll show you after the way I do it, but I do some tests on it with pieces of pipe, and I found that the fuel regulator didn't seem to be working properly. It was like sticking. 1 minute, you know, I could get fuel through, because if you can press on the diaphragm, that's the diaphragm on these. So on these you can just get something thin like this, and you can press down on the diaphragm, and you should only have to press down a small amount, but it can't be like a hair trigger, sorry. It can't be like a hair trigger, because otherwise it's not gonna seal on the needle valve properly. So you just have to set it. It's best to set it with experience really, but you know, you have to set it so it's not a hair trigger. But then again, you don't want to be pressing down too far, because otherwise, you know, because these are it's functioning from the pulse line. So yeah, okay, so the needle valve had an issue, so I've taken it apart, and when I took it apart, the filter inside there, it's a little mesh filter, had quite a lot of little bits in it, and also the end of the fuel pipe, there was a piece of silicone in it really. And I thought, well, okay, because this saw was being built in conditions in this workshop where there's dust, bits and pieces, silicone, etc, 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 and because at the end of the day, it's only a flipping chainsaw, you know, it's not like it's, you know, anything else. It is just a chainsaw. So, and this is my hobby. So, you know, it's inevitable really, you're going to get some bits around. So I thought, oh, that's good then, if that's what it is. So I've cleaned it out, sprayed all inside and blown it all out. All the jet holes and everything I've washed through and blown through. So I've done that, made sure that this is all free, there's no bits of silicone in it or anything. Done that. So I will just show you. So here you've got flat valves on there. So there's a flap valve that side and a flap valve that side. Okay. And ultimately they are basically, so your fuel comes fuel comes in through the fuel line, fuel pipe, and it comes through here and through here into this fuel reservoir. Your flap valves take care of, they basically act like a one-way valve so that the fuel can get in and access the jets. So that's what they're for. I mean, the flap valves were okay on it, but yeah, so that was that. So let's just put that back first. So where are we? I think it went that way. Yeah, that's right. So put the flap valves back on. Now it's clean. But yeah, I seriously thought I'd blown this saw up, because I know it pushes a heck of a lot of power now, and it's a lot faster. It's got a Lighten piston in it and everything. It's very aggressively ported. It's got a modified exhaust on it as well. What's that down there? Bit of rubber. So yeah, I did think I'd blown it up. Okay, so I'll just show you now what I do with these fuel regulators, okay? I'll try to. Right, so so in here, look, there's your hole that your needle valve goes in, and that orifice there is where the spring goes in. So we'll just get the spring in. This is going to be a fiddly job, this is. Okay, pick up the whole thing. I'm all fingers and thumbs, I am. It's so tiny, it's like working on a watch. Come on. Needle valve in. Hands are a bit shaky. Okay, let's try it another way. Let's try it another way, just to see if I can get it in this way. So we will hold on to the back. See if I can get that to fix there. There we go. These little pliers are a godsend. My hands are just, they're not what they were, that's for sure. They are not what they were. Shaky fingers. So set the rod like that. Luckily this screwdriver is a bit magnetised, so get that in. Okay, so okay. So now let's just have a quick test. So what you can do, just to make sure it works, put a pipe onto the fuel line, blow down it. You shouldn't get anything coming through, which there isn't. Okay. And then I think you can see okay, can't you? I wonder if that's better with that light off. It's a bit bright, isn't it? Okay, so the end of the rocker, just there. Should be able to hear it as I push it in. That's working, okay. You can hear, as I draw backwards and forwards on this, you can hear the one flap valve working. Okay, so now put the diaphragm back on. Diaphragm's on the back of the lid. Now then, I can just do, and then if I hold that down now and blow down it, I can see where this regulator is set by pushing the pin, this needle inside, just to push the diaphragm down, and I'll see where exactly it's set. It's not bad actually, that. It might be, I think it could be very slightly too high. Okay, because it seems to be opening just a little early. Okay, so now you've just got to basically, I'm looking at this camera to see if I can see what you can see. So that little seesaw there, I'll have to lower that end down. You can bend it down if you want, or you can get a pair of pliers on either end and just push down on it, whichever way you want to do it. It doesn't really matter. See what that's like. And basically you keep doing that, either lowering it or raising that little seesaw until you're happy. Like I said, all you've got to do, you've got to make sure that the needle valve actually seats properly every time the engine pulses. It's got to seat properly. That's not too bad, that, isn't it? definitely seating. So I think I'm going to build that back up now, and I'll give it another shot this afternoon, see how it gets on. I'll put the screws in first, just to see, because obviously when you put the screws in, it's going to hold it down a bit tighter, which could make it a little bit more, could make it open a little bit too early. So I'll just put the screws in and we'll see. May have to still adjust it, I don't know. It's one of those things really, this, where, I mean, obviously the dirt had got in it, and it could have even, I think it was the dirt that was blocking it, because I know when I was doing this initially, I was pushing down on the diaphragm, I couldn't get any flow at all. So there must have been something blocking that fuel way. The trouble with cleaning carbs, you won't always see it. You know, you'll do the job and you'll clean it and whatever, you blow it out, and then that's it. You just, you know, you just never know. Never know whether you've actually cleaned it properly. It's nice if you see stuff. Obviously I saw stuff where the little filter was, where the strainer was, the fuel strainer. And so that's something like, but let's just test this again. I'm not sure, I think it still feels a little bit sensitive to me, that. I might just bend that down, that seesaw mechanism down just a little bit. You know, because you get it too sensitive on each pulse, it's opening that needle valve quite a lot, and then, you know, you're going to get more pressure in there, in the fuel bowl, if you like to call it that. And if you get too much pressure in there, then it's going to be hard to regulate it down with the jet adjustments, the high and low. So just look down it, give it a little tweak downwards if I can. That's better, I think. You don't need much, like literally 0.5 millimeter can be enough. This is the thing as well with these, you know, a lot of people won't mess about with these little seesaw mechanisms, and you know, it's very simple really, but what they'll do is they change the diaphragm, because the diaphragm stretches over time, and then the diaphragm won't return, it won't go down enough, or it won't return enough, whichever, like, because if it stretches, as the pulse puts pressure in, or vacuum, whichever, it's pulling down the bagginess of the diaphragm. So if the diaphragm's too baggy, if it's stretched, then it's not going to really open that valve properly. So yeah, you can change the, you know, there's going to be a time where the diaphragm's so badly stretched that, you know, you would have to change the diaphragm. But really, you could probably get away with adjusting the regulator first, raise that little seesaw up a little bit, make it a bit more sensitive, and you know, you'll probably be able to run that stretched diaphragm for quite a bit longer, I should think. I always adjust them anyway, you know. Thing is, especially if you're doing a performance saw, you're gonna, yeah, this is a big carburetor. I mean, this is a bigger carburetor than this 58cc saw should have had. This is off a Husqvarna 372, sorry, which is a 70cc or 72cc, I think they are, saw. Well, this is only a 58cc saw, but it's now performing like a 70cc saw, to be fair. Probably even a bit better than like a performance one, actually. But so, you know, really, you're going to need to probably reset the regulator, either more sensitive or less sensitive, depending on how big your carb is, to your engine size. You know, you don't want it flooding, so you can adjust it to suit. Let's just try this again. So I'm blowing down some pressure. That's better. That does seem better. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Put the little pipes away. I've got to, let's get that out of the way for you. Thinking casing's in the way. I've got a box down here with the carb adjustment bits and pieces in it, syringe and bits of pipe and stuff, which I built up. I can do carbs on let's get you up here so you can see. I can do carbs on the 372 still, which is a twin choke. You know, I've got adapters and what have you that I've made for those, and obviously these Husqvarna 372 carbs as well. So hopefully that'll do it. Oh, there's something else I wanted to show you, actually. Yeah, it's Chinese saw and what have you, but at the end of the day, the guts of these saws are really good. You know, the crankcase is all that, it's all aluminium inside. These it is anyway. Obviously plastic fuel tank, same as everything else, but it's I'm not going to say a copy, it's a look-alike of the Husqvarna 372 and probably a couple of other models like that. It, you know, the shape of the cylinder and everything does look like one. Some of the parts will fit off the Husky onto these, which is always good to know. They're bloody good. They are really good saws. You know, you can pick them up. Some of them you can pick up for under £100 and tune them up. You can get them to go like buggery, like, you know. I mean, the first one I did is blinking powerful, really powerful and fast, and this one now is even, well, it was until it messed up on me, like. It's all good fun though, you know. You sort of you learn a lot by doing it, performance tuning them, and I love doing it. I enjoy it. I spent hours in this workshop. You know, I got fire in here and everything if I want. all the tool chests and all the rest of it's, everything's in here. Drill stand, grinders, press, everything. So I just love it. I love messing about with things, making things go better. And this is one thing with these, plainly when they come standard, you know, they're okay actually. When they're standard, they're 3.2 horse. When you think any sort of decent saw, like an average sort of saw, decent saw, Stihl, Husqvarna type, smaller ones, because obviously this is only a 58cc, it's not huge, but any of the make saws, they're only coming out at around 4, just over 4 horse, you know, on average. And these are 3.2 horse standard. They're Chinese, they're cheap. But because I know, I mean, they have a few letdowns on them really. The carburetor is very small on them. So that's hence one of the reasons why I put these big Husqvarna 372 carbs on them. And I modify them. Like, if you look inside, I modify these to fit, alter the piping and everything. I have done a YouTube video on how you fit these, but look at the spindle. If you look, I've taken all the spindle down, and the head of the screw, etc. That's all down. That's for free flowing. I've opened up all the carburetor around here to try and cram more air through. And there's also a spindle the other side, all nice and thin. Look, thinned it all down, thinned the screw down and everything. And this is a big carburetor anyway. You know, they're 18mm on the standard CS580. These are 22mm across, and they you know, so and they run well on these, you know. So yeah, I'll put that back afterwards, you know, put it back on, give it a run, set it up. But there's something I just wanted to show you. So obviously this has got very, very raised compression. It's got a 0.75 squish on it, which, you know, there's something around 2, maybe just over 2mm normally, but it's 0.75 on this one's very low. It's enough there to clear the piston to head, if you want to call it. They don't really have a separate cylinder head, but piston to head, it does clear okay, but it's only just clearing, you know. It's really squishing that fuel air mix down. And I got a big intake manifold which I make for them on it, etc, etc. Like I say, stuff like that, I've talked about this stuff before about on these, but yeah, they're great saws. They're really good. Nice free flowing air cleaner that I make. So this is the one for this one, where you can see the light through that one. Look. See, so it's a metal cage inside, and then covered in sponge. It's very free flowing. But this is interesting because I saw these. If you look, they've got they've got three earth probes on these. So it's it can, obviously it's going to spark across one of them because you've got a choice of 3 there. Now I bought these are they're graded at 7 on the temperature, which is average really. Most chainsaws run on 7. The lower the number, which I find a bit odd, but the lower the number, the hotter the plug gets. The hotter the plug can run in, I should say. And the higher the number, the cooler the plug can run in. Okay? So it's a lot about performance, etc. I did try to get a slightly hotter plug, so I thought it'd be quite good, but I couldn't find any. And these are supposed to be performance plugs. It's graded at 7, like I say, which is average. But it's, yeah. See, it's got these 3 prongs on it, earth prongs. Okay, so now I thought to myself, oh, I'll just get one and put it in, you know, it'd probably run a bit better. You know, it's more likely to spark if it's got 3 choices to jump across as opposed to 1. But also the center of the plug, the core, is quite long, pretty long on these. It's longer than a normal one. It seems to come out of the plug quite a lot. And I think that's so that it sits more inside the fuel mixture, deeper into the fuel mixture. Obviously, if it can ignite more in the center of the fuel air mixture, then, you know, you're going to get a more even burn. So that's probably another reason why they do that. But also I'd thought about, because ultimately the squish area inside this motor is really small, to be fair, especially now since I've altered the squish. So I thought to myself, well, obviously because this has got 3 prongs on it, this is also, and a longer center, a longer core, so there's gonna be more, there's more material in there, which is again gonna bring up the compression ratio. It's gonna make it even better on the compression. So I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose, I'll put it in. Anyway, they run all right, these plugs. These are the Chinese blooming plugs. And I run one of these in both of these performance saws. And, you know, I've not had any issues with them. Plugs tend to last forever in a chainsaw anyway, you know, but I thought it was a good idea, that, because it, you know, more than anything, I thought, well, it'll bring up the compression ratio. So, yeah, I've done that. And, yeah, so that's it really. You know, I just wanted to show you what I was doing to this saw. And, oh, another thing I've also done, like, I've pulled these tubes back now, but if you look inside, I've got when the lids are on your chainsaw, you can have trouble adjusting the mixture without flipping the top off all the time. So what I've done, look, I've put some tubes. I'm on a lead here, just don't disconnect it. Okay, so I put some tubes here. Okay, so where you put your screwdriver in, I've put some extension tubes in, so I can adjust the carburetor. And obviously when you take the casing off, you've got to when you take this case, the top case off, you've got to pull them back. But there they are, look, just down there poking through, which actually works pretty good, to be fair. Yeah, it works pretty good. So they go, obviously, once your carb's on, the tubes just slide over your high and low jets, over the adjustments. You know, so it just makes it so simple. You can just put your screwdriver in, you're straight on without trying to find where it goes. So yeah, I'm gonna go and get myself something to eat now. I think it's past dinner time, so thanks for watching Lutys Chainsaws once again. I really hope you enjoyed it. I know I like doing this, and I love working on these saws. It's great fun. So thank you once again for watching. All the best to everybody, and bye for now.